Hey everybody, I'm Liz Ferry.
Hi guys, I'm Joey.
Welcome to the live stream again. We're going to be watching some Steven Universe episodes, and we're also going to be making our Stevonnie doll that we started making last week. So,
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. We got
thanks for
three
coming.
people watching already.
Nice.
Hi.
Hi everybody. And feel free to go ahead and talk to us in the chat. I'm going to be using, for the first part of the Stevonnie jacket, I'm going to be using Lion Brand Homespun. And I know that a lot of people really hate this yarn. And I understand why. So if you don't want to use homespun, go ahead and just use any white worsted weight yarn. I just really like using Lion Brand because it's got that fuzzy texture. So it makes it look like a really nice fuzzy collared coat. And if you guys want to get the pattern also, it's available in my Ravelry store. You can find the link for that in the description. This is actually part 4 of the pattern. So I'm going to start with the last thing first. So I got a slip knot and I'm going to chain 12. Do I have bobby pins somewhere? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's why I hate homespun. And that's why everybody hates homespun. 8. Oh, gosh. Come on, homespun. Work with me here. Oh, there we go. All right. 8, 9, 10. Oh, it did it again. 11 and 12. All right. So now I have a chain of 12. I got to find some bobby pins. Oh, nice. Thank you. Okay.
Monsters.
I would like to make one of those, a centipedal. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, a little centipede would be cute.
Yeah, it would be kind of hard to find something to use to make the gems, though. Those gems are kind of complex.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to mark the first stitch of the row before I chain it up. I'm not sure if many of you guys are here from last time, but in order to mark the first chain, I'm just going to mark this stitch before I make the chain. So I'm going to chain 1 to be the first stitch, and now that chain is marked. So now I'm just going to single crochet in all of my chains, starting with the 3rd chain from the hook. It's kind of hard to see where the 3rd chain from the hook is because, again, this is homespun yarn, but we're going to bear with it because it looks really cute when it's done.
It's worth it in the end result. So
Yeah.
Gotta go through the pain.
Okay, so there's 1. And there should be 12 stitches in this row. So that's 2 stitches so far. 3. I said 3. God, I hate homespun. It's so bad. 4.
Oh, the cookie cat stash.
Nice. It's cute. I've seen a lot of people make cookie cats.
Yeah, classic.
With crochet. Yeah, they're really cute.
Classic ice cream sandwich.
Yeah, super cute.
Super good. Or it looks super good.
I know, right? Oh, how many stitches do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And the cookie cat wrap.
Yeah, the cookie cat wrap is really cute. Oh, geez. 8, I think. Or wait, was that 9? Now I'm not sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. So I just got to the end of the first row. Oh, and actually I'm going to change colors, so I'm going to undo that last stitch. And I'm going to change colors to my regular yarn after this. This is the only row of homespun that you really need to do. So I have this this Red Heart Soft yarn. It's called Toast. This is the color that I'm going to change to for the... This is the color I'm going to change to for the majority of the jacket. And if any of you guys have watched some of my recent tutorials, this is going to be really similar to the pattern that I made for just a basic crochet shirt for a doll, except it's going to be kind of worked backwards. So it's like the back is the front, so that it's open at the front instead of open at the back, like I did for the shirt. So it's really similar to that technique. So if you want to see a more detailed version of how to do this, you can check out that tutorial.
Garnet explaining how she summons her freaking awesome
Her weapon.
gauntlets.
Yeah, totally. I've also seen people make some really cool garnet gauntlets too.
That would be really
Those are
cool.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Some big old gloves.
I need another bobby pin. So I'm going to chain 1 to make the next stitch of the next row. All I've done so far is just change colors up from my homespun row. So I'm going to mark that loop that I changed colors from, and then I'm going to chain 1 for the first stitch. Okay. So now I'm going to turn, and now I am on the next row. I'm actually going to leave all this homespun out and sew the ends in later. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut off these homespun ends. I really want to, because I've been making, yeah, it really is. I've been making like all of the characters and stuff from Steven Universe, but it would be really cool to make like some of their accessories too, instead of just the costumes, like the shield or like the sword,
like the
or
gauntlets,
or the gauntlets. Yeah, that would be really cool. Because the only garnet that I've made doesn't have gauntlets. It's just her regular costume hands.
Oh, attack the centipedals.
So I chained 1 for the first stitch, and I'm going to turn. All right, let me check out my pattern real quick. So in the next row, I'm going to increase every second stitch of the row. And it might, again, be a little tough to see exactly where I'm supposed to put my stitches because I'm using homespun, but I'm going to work into the 3rd stitch from the hook first.
And hello, Pixel Foxy, and anybody new joining the stream. We have
Hi.
Grand total of 6 people now. Just thank you so much for joining us. And
awesome.
Hanging out, watching Steven Universe, or helping build this jacket.
Okay.
So it's a team effort here.
So this is the 2nd stitch of the row. I'm going to increase this stitch. And I'm going to just keep on increasing every stitch of this row until I get to the end of the row. So you can switch to the big face cam, little crochet cam for a little while, because I'm just going to keep on increasing every second stitch. I'm just working single crochets. So single crochet in the next stitch, then 2 single crochets in the next stitch. And I'm going to do that till the end of the row.
Steven's epic showdown with the giant monster.
Yeah, this is a really, really good
Trying
episode.
to summon his shield by eating an ice cream sandwich.
Yeah, it's a cute show, you guys. If you haven't seen Steven Universe, you should really check it out.
Yeah, we
it's a really, really cute show.
Especially if you have little kids.
Yeah, especially if you have kids, you should definitely check out the show.
It's a super fun thing to watch.
Wait a minute. Did I miscalculate something? Because that almost seems like... Did I skip a stitch? Let me check if I skipped a stitch, you guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, there should be one other stitch here. So did I skip a stitch somewhere? It is homespun, so it is a little tough for me to see exactly where all the stitches are. Whatever. So I need 2 extra stitches. If nothing else, I might have to just put them in a random place because I don't want to redo that homespun row again, you guys. I'm not going back. Okay, no, I did skip a stitch. Okay, no, it's good. It's good. So it's just hard to see because of the fluffy texture of this yarn. It's so hard to tell.
Yeah, I could see it being
the difference between the stitches.
To lose yourself and all the texture.
One of the many reasons to hate homespun yarn. If you guys hate homespun yarn, go ahead and tell me that in the comments. So now I have 18 stitches in the row. And it's a little brown line with the white homespun at the end. So I'm going to do another row of increase. This time I'm going to increase every 3rd stitch of the row. So it's like the exact same type of thing as this previous row that I just did. But this time I'm going to increase on the 3rd stitch instead of the 2nd. So that chain up that I just did counted as the 1st stitch. So I'm going to single crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook. And are we about to start the 2nd episode?
Yeah, the 1st episode just ended. So now we're starting episode 2, which is Laser Light Cannon.
Laser Light Cannon.
Steven Universe.
Nice, also a great episode. Because that's the 1st episode where Steven's dad comes in.
Yeah.
One of my favorite characters in the show.
Yeah, it's hard not to love Greg.
Yeah, no, well... Oops, I just realized that I was putting this paper up against the mic. Sorry about that, you guys.
That
I was just trying to see... I was just trying to see a part of... Okay. I need to change pages. All right, there we go. So I'm going to increase every third stitch of the row. So I did the first 2 stitches of the row. I'm going to increase on the third stitch.
Katie says she's never used homespun yarn before.
If you've never used it before, it's you probably shouldn't try. I don't want to discourage anybody or anything, but it's really hard, especially for if you're a beginner or if you've never used it before. It's really hard. Like, it shreds really easily. It's like really hard to tell the stitches apart. There's a lot of reasons to not like homespun. And then also the other thing that I don't like about homespun is the yarn kind of breaks apart really easily. It'll just like twist away from itself, and the strands will just come apart sometimes. So you have to be really delicate with the way that you handle it to a certain degree. All right, I'm actually increasing every third stitch of the row for this row, so you can switch to our face cam again. I'm just going to keep on increasing every third stitch until the end of the row. I really like this camera though because of the light. It makes it a lot easier to see my stitches. Okay.
Yeah, I hope you guys like the new camera we just got not too long ago.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed, but...
Alright, I'm about to get to the end of the row. So in the next row, I'm going to increase every 4th stitch, and I think that's the last row of increase. Yeah, that's the last row of increase. So the next row is pretty much the same thing, except I'm going to increase every 4th stitch instead of every 3rd stitch. I almost want to stop and sew these ends in just because these random homespun ends are getting kind of annoying to just keep on touching. The other thing is this homespun yarn kind of makes my hands a little bit sweaty because it's so like fibrous, and the fibers just kind of get on my hands a little bit, so that's why I keep stopping to wipe off my hands. Let me sew those ends in so that they're not continuing to bother me. And I don't know if you guys saw the video that we posted a couple of days ago, but for the next pattern that we're going to be doing for these streams, I'm going to be making Alice from Alice in Wonderland, so if you guys want to
then we
join
can
us for that next
Then we can all watch
time.
the classic
we were thinking
Disney
of
Alice in Wonderland together and
if you guys want to
hang out, watch
do that.
something, make an Alice
I'm
costume.
I'm not sure, but I think it might be on Netflix. We have it on DVD, so we can watch it, but like I want to see if it's on Netflix, because that would be because then it might be easier for some of you guys to watch along with.
Watch it with us.
Oh, I scratched my hand with my needle.
the dangers.
Oh, I'm just going to be sewing some ends in, you guys, so don't even worry about
nothing exciting.
Nothing happening. Nobody wants to watch me sew in ends. Unless you really want to, I can show you guys. Another thing about this show that I really love is the soundtrack. The soundtrack is amazing.
Yeah, we love the soundtrack for this show.
Yeah, it's got an amazing soundtrack.
A lot of great songs too.
Yeah. If you guys like musical type of things, like musical shows or movies or whatever, like this, it has some really good sung songs, and also just the instrumental background songs are amazing.
Yeah, a lot of times just super chill music to put on and have.
Yeah, actually, I put on a lot of the time while I'm filming tutorials, I will listen to the Steven Universe soundtrack or the Stardew Valley soundtrack, but that's a stream for another day.
It's a story for another time.
This episode freaks me out too. What is it doing?
Oh yeah, the giant eyeball hanging in the sky is definitely ominous.
Yeah, it's just like, why though? Like, why? Like, what is it doing? You know what I mean? It's weird because they don't really explain it ever.
Well, they say it's supposed to crash into them, basically.
Yeah, but they don't really say specific, because I don't know. It's just weird. One more end to sew in. Okay, so the next row I'm going to just increase every 4th stitch of the row too. So I might just do that, like, off to the side, because it is kind of easier for me to work with the crochet right in front of my face instead of having it in front of the camera, as much as it is like helpful to have the light and everything, but it's a little bit more comfortable. So for some of the parts of this, I think I am going to just bring it in front of me so I can work on it easier. Okay. Homespun. Sorry. Oh God, I'm sorry. Hang on, just give me a minute. Can't even sew in my ends. Okay. Okay, I got it. Nice.
It starts like sucking a bunch of stuff off into it.
Yeah, see, that's weird. That's weird. What is it doing up there? Alright, I'm almost done sewing these ends in. Thank you for bearing with me, you guys. Alright, now I'm just going to finish that, that row of increase, you guys. I'm just going to keep increasing every 4th stitch of the row. The light cannon looks really cool too.
Yeah, yeah, super epic. And then it's the first glimpse into like Rose's power, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Aside from like Steven, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. But this crazy beam and like it freaking her silhouette.
Oh my God, I'm not even increasing, am I? Oh no, I am. Huh, that's funny. I guess I am doing it right. Okay. What's the next row gonna be? Alright, in the next row I'm gonna make the armholes, so be prepared for that. Now I don't have any tails getting in my way, and I just finished doing a row of increasing every 4th stitch of the row. So the next row I'm gonna make the armholes. So what's the next episode?
So next up is cheeseburger backpack.
That's another thing I want to make. I want to make a cheeseburger backpack. That would be really, really good.
Yeah.
I just want one. Everything's a pocket. Even the cheese is a pocket.
Yeah, it seems like it's
that would just be really cool to have.
The whole idea is just a really
So the next row I'm gonna single crochet 6 stitches, and then to make the armhole I'm gonna chain 4 and then skip 6. So I'm going to chain 1 for the first stitch of the row. And this is the first episode with Jamie in it too. Nice. Alright. So I'm going to single crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook, or the 3rd stitch from the hook. There's a fiber in my mouth. Another reason to hate homespun.
It gets everywhere.
It does. Anyway. Okay, so I've done 2 stitches. I'm going to do 6 stitches in this row before I make the armhole. So that's 3, 4, 5, and 6. Nice. Okay. Now to make the armhole, I'm going to chain 4. Alright. Then I'm going to skip 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then single crochet into the 7th stitch. Alright. So that's going to be the armhole right here. And this is going to be maybe a little bit excessive, but just so that I can bear it in mind, I'm going to actually mark all of the stitches of that chain, just so that I know I have a tendency to lose my place with those chains. So I'm going to come back later and I'm going to work into all of those chains to make the arm of the jacket later. So I'm going to actually mark every single one of those chains just so that I don't lose them, because I do have a tendency to lose them. And I'm going to mark the armholes on both sides. So when I get to the other side, I'm going to do the same thing. You might not need to do this, but I just have a tendency to lose my place. So I'm going to just go ahead and mark every single chain. Ah, my bobby pins. Alright. And that's why I really like using bobby pins as stitch markers as well, because it's just so easy to just stick a bunch of them just in. So there's all 4 of my marked chains. And when I get to the chains for the next armhole, I'm going to do the same thing. So in between the 2 armholes, let's see, in between the 2 armholes, 5 stitches. So I'm going to single crochet 5 more, so that there's a total of 6 single crochets between each armhole, counting this one. So 5 more. Alright. So now I just need to chain 4 and skip 6 to make the next armhole. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in the 7th stitch I'm going to single crochet, and then I'm going to mark all of those chains again, just to make sure that I don't lose my place. So I got those 4 chains marked now. I'm going to continue. I'm just going to single crochet until the end of the row, so that's should be 5 stitches. Yep, 5 stitches.
And then for anyone who's wondering, we're also going to be archiving these after we do the live streams. We're
Yep.
just going to edit them down and put them back up, so that way anybody who didn't catch them while we're doing the stream will be able to check them out afterwards.
Yeah, it'll take me a while to edit the video down though, but it should be up a couple of at least a couple, most likely within a couple of weeks. It probably won't take me that long to edit it down. All right. So I got to the end of that armhole row. So in the next row, I'm going to single crochet until I get to the chain stitches. Then I'm going to skip the first chain, increase the 2 middle chains, and skip the last chain. So I'm going to chain up to make the first stitch of the row. And then single crochet until I get to that chain section that I marked already. I'm going to move this paper because it's kind of getting in my way. And once again, I need some more slack. All right. So alright, so that was 6 stitches before the chain. Now I'm going to skip that first chain and then increase the 2 middle chains. This is one of my favorite songs from the series too. Out of all the instrumental ones, I mean. Alright, now I'm going to just single crochet into the next stitch after skipping the last chain. And see, that's why it's a little hard for me to see where the chains are after I've worked into them, because we're going to work into them again when we come back to do the armhole, or to do the arm of the jacket. So once again, I skipped the first chain, increased the second and third chain, and then skipped the last chain. Then I single crocheted into the next stitch. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, so I'm going to single crochet until I get to the next chain section.
Diversion.
Alright. So I'm going to skip the first chain and then increase the 2 middle chains. And then skip that last chain and single crochet until the end of the row. So I got to the end of that row. Now in the next row, I'm kind of going to do the same thing, except I'm going to do a decrease instead of skipping the stitch. Since it's not a chain, it would look a little cleaner. If you want, you could skip the stitch, but there might be a hole in there instead, so that wouldn't look as clean. So I'm going to have a little drink of water real quick. So let me chain for the next row. Alright, so I'm going to chain for the next row and turn the work again. Now I'm going to single crochet until I get to the stitch before that increase that I made in the middle chains. So that's going to be, what was it, 5 stitches? Since there were 6 in the last one, right? Yeah, 5 stitches. So I'm going to single crochet 5 stitches counting this chain that counted as the first stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. So now I'm going to decrease I'm going to decrease the next 2 stitches together. So let me go ahead and decrease these 2 stitches. Then I'm going to increase 2 stitches. So there's one of my increases. I'm going to increase the next one again. So there's another increase. And then I'm going to decrease the next 2 stitches together, just like I did on the opposite side. Okay. So that's just to kind of even out the hole here and make it kind of flow better from the front toward the back. So I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite armhole. I'm going to single crochet until I get to the stitch before the increases I made in the previous row. That's what, 4 stitches, I believe? Yep, 4 more stitches. So I'm going to single crochet 4. Alright, I've done my 4 stitches. Now I'm going to decrease, 2 increases, decrease again, just like I did on the opposite side. Alright, so there's the first decrease. Now I'm going to do 2 increases. 1, 2 increases, and then 1 more decrease.
And that was episode 3.
Nice. Alright, so I just finished the second armhole. Now I'm just going to single crochet till the end of the row. And that should be 5.
And I'm going to start episode 4, which is Together Breakfast.
And this is actually the end of my... This is actually the end of my increase and decrease stuff, rows. So the rest of the rows are just going to be in regular single crochets. So I'm just going to do, what is it, 5 more rows. Okay, so I have to do 5 more rows of single crochet. So you can go ahead and switch to face cam. I'm just going to do 5 more rows of single crochet. All right, let me turn off this light. All right, 5 rows. So yeah, this is also a trippy episode because of that random weird room where Garnet destroys that scroll.
Right. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen a lot of these.
Yeah, no, I know. I've probably watched them more times than you have.
Probably.
What's your favorite song from Steven Universe, Joey?
Yeah, there's too many.
There's not too many. I have a favorite song from Steven Universe. Pick one! I'm just kidding. I can say what mine is, if you want.
Stronger Than You is obviously.
Yeah, Stronger Than You is awesome. I really like It's Over, Isn't It?
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
I really like Pearl's singing voice, too. So I finished with the 5 rows. So if you were going to do the slip stitch row, basically for every corner you would chain 1 and then slip stitch into the same stitch to make a little corner like that at the tip. And then you would go ahead and slip stitch into the first stitch of every row along the side here. Like that. And see how it kind of makes this edge a little straighter. The giant waffle.
I know,
so
right?
crazy.
Always such a weird twist when like the food becomes sentient and starts trying to like attack and hurt you. Like,
I know, super weird. It is a bit of a weird show. All right. So basically what the pattern says to do is to slip stitch that way up this edge, and then once you get here, change colors to homespun, and then slip stitch through the homespun and make another corner right here by doing a chain one and a slip stitch, and then do more slip stitches using homespun across the collar here, then do another corner here, and then slip stitch into the side here, and then change colors, and then do another row of slip stitches using the brown all the way to the bottom, and then slip stitch along the bottom here. So if you wanted to make it have a more clean look, you could do that, but then of course you would have to sew in more homespun ends, and also you would have to cut off your brown yarn here and then start it over again over here, and then you'd have to sew in those ends as well. So I'm just going to not do that because it's a little bit complex. But I will tell you that in order to do that, let me just read it off of the pattern. Slip stitch row. So you would chain one and then slip stitch into this side of this stitch in order to do the corner. Then along this edge you would do 10 slip stitches up until right here where you would change colors to white, to the white homespun, do one slip stitch here, and then do a corner again right here by doing a chain and a slip stitch into the corner. Then here you would do 11 slip stitches using the white, do another corner here, do one slip stitch on the side and change colors back to the brown, and then another 11 slip stitches or another 10 slip stitch, I believe, on this side, right? Right? Change colors. Right? Just making sure. Alright, and then, oh no, it is 11 slip stitches on this side. That is what I thought. That is what I said the first time. Okay, so 11 slip stitches along this side, then make another corner, and then 25 slip stitches along the bottom. Then you would slip stitch back to your first stitch to end it. But I'm not going to do that because that would be pretty complex, and it would take a long time, and I'd have to sew in more homespun ends. There's a lot of reasons not to. So I'm just going to chain one to end that part and just cut it off right here. Alright, so here's all of these bobby pins that I stuck in here earlier. I'm going to actually, I'm going to use those spaces to work part of this row of sleeve. So if you guys remember when we were doing this armhole, I skipped these stitches and chained 4. So I'm actually going to work into those 6 stitches that I skipped, and I'm going to work into those 4 chains that I made, and I'm going to work into the sides of these stitches that I made on either side of that. So in total it's going to be a row of 12 stitches. And if you don't want to do this, there's an easier way to do this. You could just chain 12 and then work a bunch of rows separately, and then sew that to this place, sew that to the armhole after. If you wanted to do that, that might be a little bit easier if you're not as experienced with finding where to stitch. And I've marked all of these chains to make it easier to find where to stitch. Alright, so I'm going to start in this first stitch that I skipped. I'm going to pull up a loop, and I'm going to chain 1, but first let me mark that loop. Then I'll chain 1 to count as the first stitch. Then I'm going to single crochet into the 5 other stitches that I skipped. Alright, so I did those 5 stitches, or those 6 stitches rather. Now I'm going to work into the side of this stitch here. So now I'm going to just work into these 4 chains. Alright, there's the first one. I'm going to take that mark out. Okay, there's the second one. Now the third one. Oh, the bobby pin's getting in the way a little bit. Okay, so that's the third one worked into the chain. one more worked into the chain, and that's the last one. So now I just need to work into that side of that stitch right here. And that's the end of the row. So now I'm just going to keep working rows of single crochet around that row of 12 that I just made in the armhole. So let me just, I'm going to work into that first stitch that I marked, that chain one. So single crochet into that stitch, and then just keep single crocheting around. Let me see how many rows I'm supposed to do exactly. I think it is 16 rows in total, counting that first row that I made. So 15 more rows, right? Let me just make sure. Yep, 15 more rows. So 16 rows total for the sleeves. So I'm just working 15 rows, you guys. 15 rows of sleeve. Oh yeah, and also after you're done making this one sleeve, you can also go ahead and make another sleeve that's exactly the same. Because I think also to save time, I might just skip making the second sleeve because it's exactly the same. You guys can always go back in the stream and like rewatch exactly what I did. I've made so many tiny jackets this week, you know.
You got a whole little wardrobe just in our arsenal now.
I know. Too bad I don't know anybody that wears this size.
I know, right? If any borrowers come across our
I
stash,
know,
they're
right?
just going to be set. Have tons of little jackets.
Donate it to the fairies. Alright, so I should have just 2 more rows after this. And the next part is pretty much just going to be, it's just going to be edging the jacket with a darker brown. With just single crochets. Nothing fancy. Just the sleeves will be edged with brown and the bottom of the jacket. And that's it.
Final stretch?
Yep, in the final stretch, I just have 2 more rows of this to do. Then I have 1 row to do at the end in a different color, and then 1 row to do at the bottom in a different color. And then I think I'm just going to leave the sleeve for later, just because it's exactly the same process to make the other sleeve, so, you know. And I'm going to be using chocolate from Karen Simply Soft to do the edging of the coat. So.
Chocolate.
That's what you said when I said toast earlier.
I guess I'm just hungry.
You just ate. We went to is it a Vietnamese noodle house?
Vietnamese
yeah, we
noodle
went to a
house. I
Vietnamese
thought
noodle
it was-
house. It's really, really good.
Just had some curry.
Yeah, Joey had some
Super good.
curry. Oh wait, no, I'm on the last stitch of the row. All right, I got to the last stitch of the row, you guys. I'm just gonna slip stitch to the first stitch of the row to end it this time instead of chaining, so that it's in a round. I just slip stitched and cutting it off.
Nice.
Nice. All right. Possibly. I might have to go to the restroom, you guys. So we're gonna take a 5-minute break. All right.
All right.
So we'll see you guys in 5 minutes.
Yeah, just get a drink of water, take some time to stretch your hands. We'll be right back.
Switch that back, and then switch to taking a break. And turn that other one off. Oh God, you can't read it.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
There we go. All right, we're
right.
taking a break, you guys.